manuscript collections from more than 80 locations in Britain, the United States, and Australia. As Professor David Bryan Davis remarked in his masterly Slavery in an Age of Revolution, 1975, few biographical subjects are so treacherous as William Wilberforce. The manuscript letters and papers newly come to light provide vital evidence to widen the picture and to resolve many of the contradictions of a liberator. Some of the new discoveries are copious enough to fill out forgotten aspects, such as Wilberforce's stand as the first political independent, in the modern sense of the term, or his attempt to destroy the Portuguese and Brazilian slave trades, which continued openly long after the British trade had been outlawed. Other new insights hang on single threads. When, for instance, the aged Lord Carrington, last survivor of a circle of young MPs, recalled in 1838 the doggerel verse and appalling pun perpetrated by Wilberforce, as they celebrated the current toast of the town one evening in the early 1780s, it is not surprising that the story has no other source. To keep this book to a reasonable size, I have restricted the historical background to a minimum, all the more so because Professor Roger Anstey's definitive study, The Atlantic Slave Trade and British Abolition, 1760 to 1807, 1975, has appeared since the last biography of Wilberforce, overturning many previous conclusions and providing a full account which needs no exhaustive repetition. To Wilberforce, abolition was, of course, the grand object of my parliamentary existence. But he commands attention on many other grounds. For instance, his efforts to improve the economic condition of the poor are little understood, while his ideas of penal reform and parliamentary reform have never been properly explored. The range of his religious sympathies, the depth of his spiritual convictions, and his concern for the moral climate of an age which in many ways was like our own, add to his interest and relevance when they are placed in perspective. I believe that my book offers a fresh starting point for historical debate. The general reader should be as much entertained as I have been by a Wilberforce neither politically repressive nor personally dreary, but exciting, lovable, delightful, with faults which must have maddened his friends. John Pollock, Rose Ash, Devonshire. Part 1. The Young Member, 1759 to 1788. Chapter 1. 2 guineas a vote. A huge bonfire blazed beyond the walls of Hull on the night of the 24th of August, 1780. An ox roasted whole. Citizens danced, ate, got drunk, and roared huzzahs for their host, the young head of the House of Wilberforce, whose coming-of-age feast begged their votes in the imminent general election. No one round the bonfire that summer evening, least of all himself, could have guessed how William Wilberforce would achieve his fame. To seek election so very young was strange for one of his background, for the Wilberforces were mercantile men. They came from Wilberforce, near York, to Beverley in the mid-16th century, and flourished modestly until young William's grandfather, also named William, who was born in 1690, pushed the few miles south to Kingston upon Hull to build a great fortune in the Baltic trade. Hull was the fourth port of England, ranking after London, Bristol, and Liverpool, which was growing to greatness by the slave trade. And this earlier William Wilberforce had a red brick mansion in the High Street. The other front overlooked the Staithes on the River Hull, a few hundred yards from its outflow into the Humber. He could watch his ships unload hemp and timber from Riga and St. Petersburg, and iron ore from Sweden, and load again with every kind of Yorkshire product, from Sheffield knives to ponies. Alderman Wilberforce owned land in 3 parishes around Hull, and through his mother, the estate of Markington near Harrogate, which had tenant farms but no country house. He was a man of very vigorous mind who became mayor of Hull at the early age of 32, and in 1745 was mayor a second time. Had the young